I still remember the good old days back when I was in sixth grade. All the guys in the class, we all were avid baseball card collectors. And that was when it was still a hobby, when it was something kids did. It wasn't a time when it became so corporate, when it became a business. Really, once Don Russ and Fleer started issuing cards, what was that, like 1980 or 81? That changed everything when it came to baseball cards. People started to buy them and collect them for speculative purposes, for investment purposes, rather than just for the sheer fun of doing it. But back in sixth grade, one of the things was whose ever mother was going to the supermarket on a Saturday, well, that guy would then take dimes from other kids in the class because he would tag along with his mother and run to the local pharmacy and go ahead and buy a bunch of packs of cards. You bring them in on Monday, and then later in the week, we'd meet at recess. And guys, it was wheeler dealer time. 2 recesses a day. One kid used to bring his cards in a big bag. Another kid used to just shove them in a box inside of his book bag. There was probably 8 of us. And guys, we were like Wall Street traders. And the only thing that I can equate to that was the frenzy that was going on the first day in the NFL free agent period yesterday. My God, you talk about people throwing around monopoly money with the salary cap going up, so many teams deciding to buy their way into contention. And as I always like to say, it makes for a great rotisserie or fantasy league team, but often the results aren't there on the field. Oh my gosh, some of the teams yesterday. But I got to say, the Houston Texans, what a great deal. You know, everybody had been speculating that, especially after Brian Hoyer, who was clearly not Bill O'Brien's choice to be quarterback last year as he went through 4 different starters, after that miserable 4 interception, 5 turnover performance and the 30-0 loss to Kansas City in the opening playoff game, you knew the Texans were going to go out and get another quarterback. Now, most people speculated that they would go ahead and they would draft Christian Hackenberg because Hackenberg had that great year as the freshman for O'Brien in his tenure at Penn State. And since then, he's looked nothing but pedestrian. He'll be lucky to be a 3rd-round draft pick after a miserable showing at the Combine, once again showing that he doesn't have the accuracy and he tends to throw high. But listen, guys, look at what the Texans did because they had a defense. You can't wait for that defense to get old. That defense is in its prime. So they'll go out and get Brock Osweiler, who, listen, I'm not saying Brock Osweiler is the end-all to be all the quarterbacks, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But he's certainly more than serviceable. He's certainly more than competent. He sat on the bench for 3 years. He learned something. He showed you something. And you're going to the guy now who's considered the quarterback whisperer in the NFL after working with Tom Brady in New England. But the more important move that the Texans made yesterday, Lamar Miller. I mean, this guy is 24 years old. Most times you get a running back in the free agent period. He's past his prime, 30, 32 years old, or he's getting ready to go down the hill at 28, 29, and he's already had 5, 6 years of tough carries. Miller, underused by the Dolphins for some strange reason, never could figure that out. A guy who was so productive, but they wouldn't give him the ball more than 13 to 15 times a game. The hell with Arian Foster, who they released last week, who was just injury-riddled all the time. You had no quarterback. You had no running back. So you went out and you bought yourself an offensive backfield. You have a good receiver core. You have a decent offensive line. And you're not risking the chance of drafting a quarterback and hoping that J.J. Watt and the rest of the defenders are still at peak performance time 3 years down the road when that quarterback, who, even if you get one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft, isn't going to guarantee you anything. So it was an interesting day, certainly free agent. Listen, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, just stunned with what all they did. How the Miami Dolphins were suckered into taking Brian Maxwell and Kiko Alonso off the Eagles' hands and trading first-round draft picks. I thought that was a steal, but then when they unload DeMarco Murray to Tennessee for a bag of peanuts, oh my gosh. I mean, what a crazy day. New York Giants go out and decide to buy themselves a defensive line. The Jets take some heavy losses. No one took a bigger loss than the Broncos yesterday. The Cleveland Browns, maybe. They lost 4 starters yesterday, but when you suck anyway, does it matter how many starters you lose? Who knows? Anyway, guys, listen, I've got a couple of complimentary plays coming your way here in just a moment. Again, going to the well with Trace Adams, half-price play of the day. Why not? The guy has made you more money than any other handicapper here over the past, 148 days. He's made $1 better. It's $53,450. 148 days. We're just a few days shy of 5 months, and he's made you over 53 grand. Today, half price play of the day once more. Double your wager, 2,000 star winner number 20 out of 27. One of your night games in the Big East. Creighton and Seton Hall matches yesterday. 2,000 star winner Holy Cross, the 10-point underdog, their fourth straight road win in the Patriot League tournament to earn the Big Dance ticket. And that's what the Big Dance and this month of March is all about. The underdogs pulling the upsets. Just as strong as this 2,000 star winner with Northwestern over Nebraska on Sunday, Saturday, Ole Miss over Tennessee on the road. They were all double your wager plays. You got them all for at least half price off. Same thing goes today, half price play of the day by using coupon code ADAMS, ADAMS. And oh, by the way, Jeff Benton won another 109 play yesterday. Yeah, won another one yesterday with Colorado hammering Washington State. Today, not only winning day number 20 out of 26, but 109 winner number 13 out of 14, and you save $60 again. As I continue to show you don't have to spend big money to make big money because you've got in every single one of these 109 plays. Every single one of them in the past 4 weeks, you've gotten for at least half price off. 109 winner number 13 out of 14. It's Penn State, Ohio State. Use coupon code LOCK, L-O-C-K. All the other discounts, coupons, etc. are over on the homepage. Let's talk about the most interesting game I find on today's card, other than the one I'm personally using, which is the Alabama-Mississippi game. It's the Oklahoma-Iowa State game. This has historically been a tight series. The home team is 4-0 in the regular season meetings the past 2 years. Last year, of course, Iowa State knocked Oklahoma out of the Big 12 tournament with a 67-65 win. This Oklahoma team, you have to be asking yourself, did they peak too early? 5-4 down the stretch. Did those 2 losses to Kansas take something out of this team? A team that looked like world beaters, a senior-laden veteran team, just like Iowa State. They open at 3. This line goes up to 4.5. You got to go with the number. You got to take the underdog here in a series that has historically been so close. Plus, listen, this game is being played in at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Iowa State usually brings a hell of a lot of fans. We're talking thousands. I'd read one estimate that usually you can count on them bringing 4,000 to 5,000 fans to the Big 12 tournament. Oklahoma's fans don't travel for this damn thing. I read that generally they're bringing in the low hundreds in terms of having the fan support. So clearly, even though it's a neutral site game, it's going to be in favor of Iowa State in terms of the fans. Again, you know, when when Oklahoma was ranked number 1 in the country, Iowa State beat them 82-77 at Hilton Coliseum back on January 18th. Now, did they return the favor and beat Iowa State 87-83 in the rematch later? Yes, they did. But again, I got to go with the points and grab them with Iowa State. Your other complimentary play, guys, I'm going to go with Hawaii minus the 11.5 points. In the Big West tournament. Hawaii shockingly upset on the road in its season finale against Long Beach State, a team that beat them twice this season. But that was their only loss in Big West Conference play on the mainland, on the road this season. 11-2 against the spread after the last 13 straight-up losses. They're playing Fullerton State. Now, Cal State Fullerton started the season 6-1. Look good, right? Not really. They played a bunch of cream puffs, a bunch of cupcakes. They lost 18-22 to close the regular season. They finished 9th in the league. They normally wouldn't even be in the Big West tournament. The only reason they are in it is because Northridge, right above them, isn't eligible. Hawaii took the first meeting 86-79 back on January 16th. At Fullerton, then Hawaii returned the favor and won again at home 76-59. I got to go with Hawaii here. This is a team that did exceptionally well on the boards, led the Big West in rebounding margin at plus 5.7. On the other hand, the Titans were dead last in the conference at minus 6.3. So you're looking at a Hawaii team versus a Fullerton team just on paper, with Hawaii getting nearly 12 rebounds more per game on paper. That leads to second chance opportunities. More aggressive board play, of course, leads to more free throw opportunities. I think Fullerton State just lucky to be there, and I think that it also works in our favor a bit that Hawaii, coming off a stinging loss in their regular season finale, I think they show their true colors today, and they roll to the easy win. Just looking at some of the other games here, you know, I looked at some of the 3:30 games, Eastern Time tip-off. Vanderbilt should beat Tennessee, but 11 points. Again, I always worry when a team like Tennessee played yesterday, even though the Volunteers are awful, but they had that one game under their belt. They had that yesterday. They hammered a bad Auburn team. Vanderbilt should beat them for a third straight time, but do the Commodores care about the 11.5-point margin? And would you want to put your money on Tennessee? So I stayed away from that game. I looked at the Old Dominion game. Old Dominion coming off a 72-46 rout of Florida Atlantic yesterday. Trey Freeman had 25 points. Fifth straight win for the Monarchs, who won as a 3-point underdog in the season's lone meeting at LA Tech, 56-53 this season. That matched for LA Tech their lowest point total of the entire year. But that's not really a surprise because Old Dominion has a top 10 defense in terms of scoring, giving up an average of just 61.9 points a game. They don't allow you to run the break. And Tech wants to get out in transition. They average a little over 80 points a game on 46.3% shooting. But Tech also gives up 72.2 points a game. So another interesting game. I lean a little toward Old Dominion, even though I know that Tech is the better team. But then you've got that neutral court coming in and playing such a big factor. So those were a couple of the other games I thought about, leaning a little bit towards Old Dominion, leaning a little bit towards Vanderbilt. But the official free plays are once again going to be Hawaii and Iowa State. I wish you well, guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.